Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Imagine this. Tens of thousands of people standing in the pouring rain, in the middle of the night at Goyang Stadium, South Korea. Water streaming down their faces. But not a single one of them moves. Not a single one of them goes home. Because on that stage, there is one figure who makes them forget the cold of the rain, the exhaustion of traveling from far away, even everything that has ever happened in their lives. That figure is Park Jimin. And those nights, April 9th through 12th, 2026, at Goyang Stadium, are nights that no one who was there will ever forget. Not even those who watched from a small screen at home, thousands of kilometers away. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about something extraordinary, something that has been waited for nearly 4 years. This is the BTS World Tour Arirang, and Jimin has just created the most defining moments of his entire career. Stay until the very end, because trust me, you don't want to miss what happened on night 3. To understand why Jimin's moments in Goyang hit so differently, we need to take a step back. The BTS World Tour Arirang is their 4th concert tour as a group, beginning on April 9th, 2026 in Goyang, and continuing through 2027. It marks BTS's return to live performances after completing their mandatory military service, spanning more than 85 dates across 34 cities in 23 countries. For years, think about how long that actually is. BTS, the group that rewrote the rules of the music industry, the group that put Korean songs at #1 in America, the group that filled stadiums on 5 continents, suddenly had to stop. Not because of a scandal, not because of a breakup, but because of a national obligation. One by one, the members of BTS entered mandatory military service. And during that time, ARMY waited. They kept playing the old songs. They kept posting on social media. They kept holding onto their light sticks, hoping that one day they would be able to raise them again under the lights of a concert. The global run began after Arirang spent its first 2 weeks at the top of the Billboard 200 and spawned a #1 hit on the Hot 100 with the lead single Swim. So when the Goyang concert tickets went on sale, you can imagine what happened. Tickets for their concerts in South Korea, North America, and Europe sold out within just a few hours of the pre-sale and general sale opening. And among all the members of BTS, the world's attention was particularly focused on one person, Jimin, the most expressive dancer in the group. A vocalist with a completely unique vocal color. A performer who always makes an audience feel like there is only him and them in the room, even when the stadium holds 70,000 people. April 9th, 2026. The night that had been counted down for years had finally arrived. And nature, it seemed, wanted to test just how strong the resolve of BTS and their army truly was. As the Arirang World Tour kicked off on Thursday night, it marked the end of a 4-year absence tied to South Korea's mandatory military service. The 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, jhope, JiminWho, and Jungkook, defied the relentless rainfall that continued throughout the entire event. The show lasted 2.5 hours as fans kept swimming in the rain, supporting their beloved band members. The stage itself was already breathtaking from the very first moment. The 360-degree stage made way for multiple large catwalks extending from the main platform, all surrounded by pyrotechnics, walls of flame, and thousands of LED lights. But the rain refused to stop. And while many other artists might have considered halting the show for safety, BTS pushed forward without hesitation. The rainfall turned the stage into what Suga described as a water park. The stage floor was soaked and slippery. Choreography that had been rehearsed for months suddenly became a genuine physical risk. And this is where one of the most talked about Jimin moments of the entire opening night was born. At one point, Jimin acknowledged that he was soaked all the way through to his underwear, showing that all 7 members were absolutely determined to perform for the fans who had come to Goyang. Just sit with that for a second. A world-class performer, carrying years of preparation and anticipation on his shoulders, standing on a soaking wet stage in a completely drenched costume, under lights that reflected every falling raindrop, and instead of complaining, he laughed and kept singing. That is Jimin. That is why he is different. The concert opened with the track Hooligan from the new Arirang album. The stage was designed as a 360-degree structure, with massive screens installed all around the top, allowing audiences across every section of the stadium to see the performance clearly from every direction. During Swim, wave-like visuals were projected across the entire stage. And underneath the pouring rain, that metaphor felt achingly real. BTS was swimming against the current, against the weather, against 4 years of waiting. And Jimin was right at the center of it, moving like water itself. If Night 1 was about surviving the storm, then Night 2, April 11th, 2026, was about a transformation that left the entire world speechless. BTS Jimin dominated the stage on the second day of the concert with a clear presence under his own personal sky. Jimin changed the air the moment he stepped out, onto a stage returning for the first time in 4 years since April 2022. Unlike the heavy rain of the first night, the weather on the second day was perfect, and Jimin delivered a live performance that transcended both intensity and delicacy, with a freer and grander stage, making it the perfect performance where Jimin was simply and completely himself. What does that mean exactly? It means a performer has reached a point where he is no longer simply executing rehearsed choreography. He becomes the music itself. His movements are the melody. His expressions are the lyrics. And his presence on stage is something that cannot be described with ordinary words. Jimin appeared singing Fake Love with his blonde hair flying in the wind, immediately drawing attention with a visual reminiscent of the god of the wind the moment he was captured on screen. An army who was there that night wrote on social media, and it went instantly viral. When Jimin appeared, I stopped breathing. Not being dramatic. I literally stopped breathing. And that is not an exaggeration. Because there are certain moments in an artist's career that cannot be described rationally. Moments when technique meets emotion, when preparation meets truth, when music meets the soul. On the 2.0 stage, presented after changing into a white costume, Jimin showed perfect body control and vivid stage presence. And on the following, Normal, he delighted the audience with his soft and sweet vocals. Jimin told the crowd, "It's been a long time since we've held a concert like this. Along with the album, we've tried a lot of new things. We worked really hard on it, so I hope you enjoy it." The simplicity of those words is precisely what made thousands of people cry. Because behind those simple sentences lived 4 years of proving himself, 4 years of longing, and 4 years of quiet but profound growth. And then came Night 3, April 12th, 2026, the closing night in Goyang. The night Jimin proved everything. BTS Jimin showed his unrivaled presence on the last day of the Goyang concert, captivating fans around the world with a perfect stage. The final day of the BTS World Tour Arirang in Goyang, held at Goyang Stadium, was completed with tremendous success. On this day, Jimin appeared charismatic as he created a new title for himself called Northern Grand Battle, with his low-tied blonde hair, and quickly captured the attention of the entire audience. Northern Grand Battle. That nickname was born that very night, from fans desperately trying to find words to describe what they were witnessing. Because Jimin was not simply dancing, he was going to war on that stage. He poured every ounce of his energy, his entire body and soul, into delivering the greatest possible performance on this final night. Jimin created an elasticity through perfect control between strength and softness, filling the vast stage with free dance in sections where there was no set choreography. This is what separates Jimin from most other performers. When there is no choreography to follow, many artists will simply stand still or move minimally. But Jimin uses those moments to reveal who he truly is. His body moves in response to the music on pure instinct, creating improvisational moments that feel more rehearsed than the most complicated choreography you have ever seen. On top of that, he demonstrated his mastery as a stage commander with steady and unshakable vocals even when his breathing was rough from the intense, unrelenting choreography. One thing that often gets overlooked when people talk about Jimin as a dancer is that he is also a vocalist. And singing while executing high-level choreography, with controlled breathing, accurate pitch, sustained emotion, is something extraordinarily difficult to do. Most performers will choose one or the other. Jimin does not have that choice. He does both simultaneously, and he does them both with perfection. In particular, Jimin received explosive cheers for performing the run choreography by literally running in front of the fans in an improvisational sequence, and then beautifully recreating the dust dance. which is considered one of the most iconic pieces of choreography in BTS history. That dust dance moment became one of the most discussed performances after the concert ended. Amateur videos from audience members spread within minutes. Fans wept. People who had never even heard of BTS watched in silence and felt something they couldn't name. Because that movement needs no context to be appreciated. Its beauty is entirely universal. But the BTS World Tour Arirang was never just about individual moments. It was about a vision far grander than any single performance. The second night signaled a deep infusion of Korean aesthetics even before the official kickoff. Melodies of the Goyang, a traditional 12-stringed Korean zither, filled the venue alongside VCR visuals evoking inkwash paintings, prompting chants of the group's name from fans filled with anticipation. The stage itself, while high-tech and super modern, was shaped like a Gyeongju-style pavilion, drawing inspiration from JiminWho at JiminBTS Palace. This was a very deliberate statement of identity. BTS was not trying to become American pop artists. They were not hiding behind global trends. Instead, they proudly celebrated their roots, the rich culture of Korea, and presented it to the entire world in a way that was simultaneously ancient and completely cutting-edge. The song Body to Body, which incorporates the traditional Korean folk song Arirang, was always going to land differently in Goyang. As a living folk tradition, Arirang has been carried across generations through communal singing. Hearing an entire stadium in Korea sing Arirang together became one of the night's most powerful expressions of collective feeling. And Jimin, who was born and raised in Busan, South Korea, sang that section with something beyond mere technique. There was an authenticity there, a sense of belonging, a pride that you could feel even through a screen from 10,000 miles away. By the midpoint of the show, their vocals cut through with striking clarity, honed across the group's military hiatus. Each member's individual color was evident, but on stage, BTS made a stronger case for the whole, tight, commanding, and unmistakably greater than the sum of their parts. A great performer does not only speak through their movements, they speak through their words as well. And Jimin, who has always been one of the most emotionally expressive members of BTS, delivered several spoken moments across the 3 nights that went straight to the heart of millions. On night 3, as the audience refused to let the evening end, Jimin stood at the edge of the catwalk and said, "I will do my best to become a better person after learning and studying hard. Thank you so much and I love you so much." For sentences, but thousands of people wept. And on night 2, his words reached even deeper. "I missed you so much for such a long time, and thank you for waiting. I will continue to repay you with good performances and music. Thank you for being with me so far, and I will always be with you in the future. I love you." These were not words written by a PR team. They were not a rehearsed script. This was a person who had genuinely missed his people, who had genuinely felt the weight of those 4 years, and who was now standing in front of them trying his best to put something nearly impossible into words. Jimin, who showed his fighting spirit across all 3 days of concerts from the 9th, trended on social media for 3 consecutive days, including hashtags thanking him for the extraordinary stage and celebrating every single moment he gave to the audience. After 3 nights in Goyang, the world could not stop talking about what had just happened. The BTS World Tour Arirang in Goyang was also broadcast as a live viewing, allowing fans around the world to watch the concert from their nearest cinemas. The documentary showcases their 5th album with honest introspection and universal emotions, while the 360-degree stage creates a fully immersive experience. That means it was not only the 70,000 people inside Goyang Stadium who witnessed Jimin in that state. Millions of people around the world, from Jakarta, from Kuala Lumpur, from Sao Paulo, from Paris, from Lagos, experienced those moments in real time. And their reaction was unanimous. Chills. Absolute chills. The word chills might seem too simple, but it is the most honest word for what it feels like to watch Jimin dance under thousands of lights, with smoke swirling around him, while the music plays and 70,000 voices join in harmony. When Billboard spoke to fans on the ground, the words that came up again and again were variations of the same few ideas: joy, gratitude, disbelief, community. Many had traveled from overseas, and for some, The concert was tied to a first trip to Korea or to a much longer personal journey that began years earlier with a single song or a single clip. One Indonesian fan who attended the concert was interviewed by a Korean media outlet. She said, "I saved up for 2 years for this ticket. I have absolutely no regrets. Watching Jimin dance from that distance, that is an experience I will tell my grandchildren about." Now, here is a question that might be crossing some of your minds. Why are we focusing on Jimin specifically and not all 7 members of BTS? The answer is simple. Because while every single member of BTS is an extraordinary performer, and the 3 nights in Goyang truly were a collective achievement of the highest order, there are certain moments where one individual surpasses every expectation so completely that it becomes impossible to look away. Jimin is a rare kind of performer. He is the type of artist whose real life exists on stage. When the lights come on, something in him shifts. He is no longer the quiet, gentle Park Jimin you see in interviews. He becomes something larger, a pure expression of the music itself. And in Goyang, after 4 years away from the stage as part of BTS, he proved that time does not diminish that fire. It makes it bigger, hotter, more unstoppable than ever before. The concert reached its peak energy with a high-powered sequence of their greatest hip-hop era hits, Not Today, Mic Drop, FYA, and a mashup featuring Fire, showcasing the group's enduring power as one of the defining forces in modern pop music. And through all of it, Jimin was there, running, leaping, spinning, singing, crying, laughing, giving absolutely everything he had. The energy showed no signs of fading even as the concert neared its end. BTS performed the newly unveiled track, Come Over, from the Arirang album alongside global hits Butter and Dynamite. For the final encore, the group chose Please, a serenade dedicated to fans, and Into the Sun as a farewell, closing the night with a sky filled with fireworks. Outside the stadium, fans without tickets gathered to listen from afar, creating a striking scene of their own. Sharing the music that spilled out from the venue, they transformed their disappointment into what could be described as the romance of waiting, a uniquely BTS and ARMY moment, where absence itself became another form of devotion. 3 nights in Goyang have come to an end, but the journey of BTS and Jimin has only just begun again. The tour spans more than 85 dates across 34 cities in 23 countries, taking BTS through North America, Latin America, Europe, Australia, and more parts of Asia through March of next year. And in every single one of those cities, Jimin will do the same thing. He will walk to the stage, close his eyes for just a moment, take one deep breath, and then explode into something that none of us will ever be able to stop watching. Because that is Jimin. That is BTS. They do not just put on concerts. They create memories that last an entire lifetime. So if you have a ticket to any upcoming show on this tour, hold it tight. And if you don't, start saving. Because based on everything that happened in Goyang, this is not just a concert tour. This is a moment in history, and you are going to want to be part of it. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button, leave a comment telling me your favorite Jimin moment from Goyang, and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. We will be following every single stop of the Arirang World Tour, from Tokyo to Los Angeles to London and beyond. Until next time, stay golden, and as always, keep swimming.